Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Deja Vu here, bringing you the winners match of this MST Group 11, and this is probably a match that you didn't expect to see for considering the four players that were playing. The two best players in the in this group overall, all matchups considered, are probably Baby and Best, and both of them fell. Baby lost to Han, as you can see there in the picture. There's some nice play by Han, some struggles from Baby, and he lost that game. And then Hero with is just a ZVP monster, and with some very nice 3-hatch pressure play. Wasn't necessarily really an all-in 3-hatch build, but it was enough. Produced enough Hydro, some solid micro there, and Best had so few units on the ground because of his dual Corsair build. Just was not able to defend it off. So now we're going on to the winners match, and the winners of this game between Hero and Han will be advancing into the actual MSL. So that's when the stakes get a little bit bigger, and you can finally see that you've actually been into a Star League. And I think that I don't know if Han's actually advanced to a Star League before. I wouldn't be surprised if he hadn't. I actually didn't check that beforehand, but wouldn't be surprised if he hadn't. He has not traditionally been all that great of a player. He's been playing for 3 or 4 years and just been pretty middling, but been looking pretty good so far. I mean, he's taking out Baby. He has some wins in Pro League, playing pretty solidly. So we'll see what he can come up with here going against a great player in this matchup, Hero. Hero's got to be so happy right now getting to go against yet another Protoss. I mean, honestly, there's no way that this could have worked out better for him. Beating Best, and now Han coming up with the upset against Baby, it pretty much opens a huge, gaping window for Hero to advance into this MSL. And it did look like he was doing an overpool build there, so haven't seen the scouting probe come out, actually. It looks like Han's actually going to cheat a little bit here, putting down his forge and then scouting. Usually you'll see players put down their pylon and then go out for the scout, because if there's a 12-hatch, you can kind of skip the forge and throw down the Nexus. But yeah, Han choosing for the later scout, which I think is actually usually a mistake for a Protoss player, just because if that 12-hatch was coming up, then you really just kind of wasted all that time with the forge. But in this case, it's not going to be a big deal at all, and he's just going to get the scout off, and yeah, I'm sure he knows that this was an overpull now, and respond accordingly. He should be fine. Firstlings are out. We'll see if they decide to go for the probe, or if they'll try and rush and put on some pressure, maybe even force Han to put down a second gateway to completely block that off. And I suspect that Han will completely block off that choke and then just mine out the minerals whenever he decides that he needs to go out with Dragoons. Looks like that probe sitting on the ramp asking to get picked off. No, it's not going to. 2 cannons are being put up for Han, going to be enough to stop this Zergling pressure here. There's only 6 have been produced. I would highly doubt that Hero would produce some more Zerglings to go for a run by or something like that. That's not usually how Hero wins his ZVP. I mean, I'm sure he has done it in the past, but big time run bys is not usually Hero's style. He really likes taking it to the macro level, likes taking it to the stage where his understanding of the matchup and his diversity of units, his micro of positioning his lurkers and hydras, and just taking advantage of drops and crackling, and just trying to make the battlefield as hectic and widespread as possible. That's how Hero does it, and it really works very, very well. He's got very good flanks. He's got very good understanding of where to engage forces on a map, and if you allow him to dictate play, you really are going to struggle as a Protoss player. Really, I think the important thing to do by Hero, if you're going to take him down, is to not let him get comfortable and let him dictate play to you. You've really got to make sure that you have a decent amount of the initiative, which is really hard to do in PvZ. It can be very difficult to really establish that initiative. But if you can, I think you have a better shot against a guy like Hero, because if you let him lay his traps and his sneaky little games, you are going to have a really rough go of it. And hopefully Han has something to show us here in this game. His PvZ, I haven't really, honestly don't really know Han that well, to be honest. He is on MBC, but other than that, I don't really know too much. And a second probe coming here. This is kind of odd for Han, sending in 2 probes to scout. I don't know if he's just trying to throw Hero in for a loop or what, because it's almost a little bit wasteful, because normally, you know, you'd have one more probe mining, and I really don't think the 2 probes are giving him that much better scouting information. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, but we'll see. Whatever. Spire has been laid down by heroes, so he is going to be getting probably just getting Scourge. We could see some mules, but probably just going to be getting some Scourge out to deal with the early Corsairs. Stargate is out as well, just about, and we'll be seeing some Corsairs shortly. Third base, third hatchery placed at the top left, so Hero going for all 3 gases on his side of the map. Occasionally you will see Zerg players take the mineral only as their third, simply because it's easier to take, and obviously the distance to defend is much closer, and you don't have to worry about that secondary ramp that's at the northern edge of that top left base. Has that second ramp that can be kind of obnoxious to defend against, especially for speed zealots and things like that. Can become quite annoying. And if this does go to kind of a later game, you will definitely be seeing by Hero use cracklings and take advantage of that on the southern part of the map, sending cracklings down there through that ramp and try and bust through and break the bottom right. Definitely, if it advances to that stage of the game, I can pretty much guarantee that you will be seeing that type of play. Extra hatcheries being thrown down right now, as well as gateways. We do have a Templar Archives being warped in. First Corsair is out, starting to pick out this Overlord at the top left. Looks like it is going to get a kill. Evolution Chamber also coming up, and the Hydros Den has already been completed, so we'll be able to see some Hydros popping out very, very shortly. And look out for a 6th hatchery. If a 6th hatchery comes down pretty soon, that'll be indicative that this won't be the standard 5-hatch Hydra. Standard 5-hatch Hydra has kind of fallen out of favor, I would say, actually, among many players. Has transitioned more. I think the 3-hatch Spire into 5-hatch has kind of become more of an opening build, almost. It's kind of weird to think of a 7 or 8 minute build as an opening build, especially considering how aggressive you can be out of it. But that's kind of is how it's become, in that you'll see the 5 hatches, and then a lot of times you'll see players go for that more standard or not more standard, but a lurker and Hydra and Zergling build, very much of a mixed force, and then you'll definitely see the 6th hatchery come down. That'll be indicative of that. It looks like Speed has finished on these Zealots, and they will be heading to the top left to try and do some damage. And looks like, is he going to be prepared? He's going to have 1 second con. He's got 3 Hydros up there as well. He's going to probably need a couple more Hydros up there to defend, and it looks like he's not really responding, not really sending any more. We've got those 5 Hydros, and that's probably some more morphing, hopefully. Sunken Colony is already engaging right now, and here come the Zealots coming in for a little bit of a surround here, and actually getting all of the upper right-hand corner of that Sunken Colony. Not a whole lot of great micro here from Hero in terms of protecting that Sunken Colony. I think he could have done a much better job of it, and these Zealots are having some success. We'll see how much if they're actually able to bust through this. Looks like they've killed a couple of drones and finished off most of the Hydros. 2 Hydros left, but it doesn't look like too many drones have gone down. Definitely a lot of lost mining time, and a second batch of Zealots, that is pretty key there. I really thought that Hero was going to wipe that up, but second batch of Zealots come in there, but luckily for Hero, there also was a second batch of Hydra, so he's going to be able to defend that off, and I think he'll be pretty happy overall with that defense. It wasn't perfect for sure, but it was pretty decent and good enough for him to accept it, and it will be okay. Speed has finished on these Overlords, so this Dark Templar doesn't have too much of a chance of surviving unless Hydra decides to turn his... unless Hero decides to turn his Hydros around and not follow, which is exactly what he did. We do have a couple High Templars out for Han, so he is going to have Storm, and he actually did not use this speed lot push to throw up a third base. Pretty normal play for players to throw up a third base while that's going on, with all that pressure.